And welcome. It is the Tile Happy Hour, and tonight is Tuesday night, 8 p.m., where we love to get together and talk about tile, the tile and stone industry, and all the good things that happen around us. And it's almost the end of summer. We are coming to the end. But before we get to the end of summer and jump into fall, John and I have some awesome stuff to talk about. And we are excited about sharing that with you. Tonight is a little bit special episode tonight. Hey, John, what's happening?
I have to dispute what you're just saying. I never, ever in August say that summer's coming to an end because there's a lot of summer left. You got
You're not
August.
married to a teacher, John.
Oh, that's right. And you're down south, down below. You start sooner, don't you? Than the Northeast?
Yeah, I think so. I think we get out sooner. I still remember, and I don't know if you Yankees, if I can say that. I don't know if I can say that. If y'all did this up north, it used to be that school let out at what is it? Labor Day, and we didn't go back till Memorial Day. And then we had some people that actually wouldn't go back to school until the tobacco crop was actually out of the thing, and they would not make it to school until after then. So a little bit based on agriculture, but now it's just kind of there's 180 days of school, and I guess different school systems arrange them differently.
Yeah, well, I always look forward to early September. Sometimes I try to get away for like a weekend out east, like Montauk, because people are back into school mode. My kids are not in school age anymore, so I try to get away a day or two out east. And you definitely in September get a summer, plenty of opportunities for some summer sun and heat. So I got that on my brain. But yeah, it is middle of August. I'll give that to you. And
yeah, my wife started back school Monday, and my daughter goes back this coming up Monday. So I'll finally have my office back, and things will be back to normal. But you're right. I mean, fall is coming, but at least down where I am, you still got some good days. I know our favorite time at the coast at our place there is in October. It's still really warm enough to get into the ocean sometimes.
Nice. That's good. Does your wife have to do a lot of preparation before?
She teaches kindergarten, and I guess the pre-prep is all of the name tags, and all those things. So yeah, she's spent all week. It's like a craft fair around my house.
Right.
Ribbon, markers, owls. Her class is the owls. So yeah, all that. They actually met. She met her class today for the first time.
Oh.
So we had dinner, and she told me about that. And so, yeah, I'll be glad to have the house back, but it'll be a little sad. I'll just me and the dog again.
I don't know. I think that's a great age to be a teacher. Kids look up to you. I'm sure it's a handful, right? Because kids, the first time away from the family, and who's got issues with the bathroom and all that stuff. But outside of all that madness, you don't have kids talking back to you yet. I don't think.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And I even feel like in kindergarten, I don't have the patience to be a teacher, but I think I could get them through the educational stuff. I know my colors. I know most of my numbers.
Square peg goes in a square hole. I think I have faith that you can do that. And if I got to start teaching trigonometry, it's trouble.
That's right. That's right. It's teaching trigonometry and dealing with attitudes. I'm not.
Not a good thing.
I'm not bad at. It's calculus is about where that's where my limitations ended up.
Did you ever see those memes that said, FYI, another day in my life, and just so you know, I still haven't used trigonometry or something like that?
Yeah, you think about you, and as a smart aleck kid, ask those questions. Hey, when am I ever going to use this?
Right.
Now, and I will say in the tile industry, you do use some math. The a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That comes in handy, but none of that high math, the calculus, the trigonometry. That's
they try to tell you, they try to brainwash you in saying, oh, it's not the math, it's the thinking skills and the skills to be able to to do that. And yeah, I get that, but it's painful.
It,
It's painful. So we're
agreed.
talking about tile. Yeah, we use a lot of math and geometry in tile. So yeah, I'll grant them that.
Actually,
But
we
yeah,
talked about that in our training, didn't we?
this is true. We had a great training last week. Craig, was it once a month or that you do that?
Yeah. Once a month, we take a topic, and sometimes it's really simple. Actually, most of the time it's really simple, but it's some of the things that maybe if you're new to the industry, you don't know. And if you're an old bird like John here,
Yeah.
it's maybe something you forgot. And so, yeah, we do that once a month. And last week was our monthly technical bulletin, is what I made up that name. I don't know why. And we just did it all about pre-planning and your layout and laying out a tile job.
There was some great questions. People were diving in, and layout is really important. One of the key things that you said was that, some guys just go into a room and say, all right, there's a nice long straight wall. That's got to be the place you start. And then it could be a good spot. And then you tile, and then you get to the end of the wall and you have, a 1-inch sliver, and
Yeah.
the wall's not straight, and it goes from 1 inch to like a quarter of an inch. And you're like, oh, damn, I should have split it or done something else with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, dry layout is important, even with the grout joints, because 1/8 of an inch adds up over 50 rows of tile. So that's super important. On paper, it usually doesn't work out at all unless you're doing a real, CAD or doing some kind of real
Yeah.
architectural plan. But if you're just drawing it on graph paper, the grout is not factored in. So yeah, I thought that was helpful. Did you find any of the questions interesting?
Yeah, I thought they were great questions. Your team, I do it for two teams, and your team by far had the best questions. So
Yeah.
check mark there for the A&D sales team. But yeah, there's some good questions, and I think especially for your team, most of your team is pretty well versed in that, and maybe don't need the layout advice because you're dealing with subcontractors and professionals. And if they're asking you these questions, you probably got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, but you know what? It's good because it's just in conversation you're dealing with contractors bidding on big projects. Yeah, they don't need us. But
Right.
I may be talking to an intern at a design firm at the same time, in the same day,
Yeah.
and their knowledge is so limited or nothing on the topic, where you would think they would know that, and you're like, oh wow. Sometimes you get questions like, oh wow, I gotta, here I'm dealing with a 20-something-year-old intern designer in the summer working for a design firm, and at the same time that I'm talking to an architect that's been in the business 35 years. And
Yeah.
then you're also talking to a contractor bidding on a multi-million-dollar project with a few 100,000 feet of product. So it's good to remember that at any given time, you could be talking to someone with a lot of knowledge
Hmm.
or someone with very little knowledge. So I think it was a good refresher from a technical point, uh, with the layout. I mean, what's the main takeaway that you feel that people got?
I think the main takeaway that I don't know if they got, but I was hoping that they would walk away with is just kind of stop. Let's stop the clock and think about the installation as a whole. And even though you maybe have measured out the room or your installers measured out the room, let's think about where you're going when you go from that center line or that center point out. And you ask what the best part of the meeting was. I think the best part of the meeting that we had on last Thursday
Thursday.
was just the realization that this idea and this opportunity was an opportunity for you to get together with the rest of the design team. You've got this layout going on. Maybe you've got your subcontractor there, maybe the designer's there, you're there as a representative, and it's just a chance to get the band together and all kind of get invested in the installation. And I really think that was the biggest takeaway, especially
Right.
for your team.
I think you're a hungry man. Turkey dinner is ready.
I am actually on my wife's computer, and I didn't realize that my text messages come through there. So sorry about that.
It's okay. So one of the other takeaways was the value of, when possible and where possible, for our team to get on a job site,
Yeah,
before, during, or after a job, whatever. So, they pretty much don't need us for a technical, hey, what do we think? I mean, sometimes that's the case. But more, there was more of a business. It was less of a technical suggestion, more of a business suggestion, where you build a rapport. Of course, it is with all the players, because sometimes the players you have a relationship with, typically not the installer, right? You're dealing
yeah,
with the specifier, sometimes the developer. Everything's going well in the specification process. Tile gets ordered by whoever wins the bid, and then if there is the problem with the tile, or perceived problem with the tile, if Tilebar or the sales rep is the big bad wolf, and the tile guy can always blame the product. Oh, this product is warped, or this
yeah.
product is that. And if you have a little bit of a professional relationship, they're less likely to automatically throw anyone under the bus and say, okay, let's look at this from a pragmatic standpoint. And one of the takeaways of your training last Thursday was, you talked about warpage, like, because as we all know, tiles have gotten away from 12 by, someone just said the other day, I just need some basic 12 by 12 tiles. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
12 by 24 is the basic. So, and you remember the days when 6 by 24 porcelains came out, at the home centers, and everyone was
Hmm.
installing them 50/50, and that, and then some of the home center stuff was poor quality to begin with. And then they got to be 6 by 36s. And next thing you know, lippage everywhere. And then we had to talk about, how to lay things out, third, a third, a third, a fifth, a fifth, a fifth. How do you do that? So one of the things that you talked about was the spec itself. Like,
Yeah.
what? So repeat again how you're not supposed to look at warpage, and how you're supposed to look at warpage to determine if there is, an inordinate amount of it.
Yeah, yeah, that was a good conversation. Not really planned, but just kind of off the cuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. As tiles have gotten larger, warpage is inherent to any fired material. And when I say you're fired, like not like The Apprentice, you're fired, but like
Right.
it's been through a kiln, it's pressed dirt and clay, and you put it in an oven, and it's just going to warp. And that is just part of it. We've gotten pretty good at it as an industry, but
Yeah.
as the tiles get longer, the warpage gets more pronounced. And a lot of times you'll get a novice installer, or somebody who doesn't know any better, and they'll send you a picture of two tiles pushed together at the top or the bottom, and they bow out at the other end, and they're like, look, it's 2 inches warped. And that's not how you measure warpage, and that's not accurate.
Can
Warpage
you
is
hold on one second? Just want to get that visual. Are
yep.
you talking about a tile back to back or face to face?
It would be face to face.
Yeah, I've had that where, in my early days of dealing with warpage, because when I started in the industry, tiles were square, they weren't long. And then the first time you had that issue, the tile guy, the homeowner, and then the tile guy, and get to the job, and they'll take a 12 by 24 tile, or a 6 by 24, I think it was at the time, flip it around and put the two faces together,
Right.
and they squeeze the top and squeeze the bottom, and it's moving. It's like this,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And you're saying that's not fair to do it that way.
Correct. Yeah, because what you're doing is you're taking the worst and you're multiplying it.
Right. You're
Yeah,
taking the highest part and the highest part,
and putting
putting
it
them
together.
together, and then you're taking the lowest part, if you could say that, and the lowest part, putting it together, and then you're moving it, where
Yeah,
first place installing it, that's not how you're installing it. And then you're
correct.
also doing it face to face. So that's really unfair too, because
Yeah,
it's going in opposite directions, where
yeah.
if it was
The
back to
key is
back.
the key is when you're thinking about warpage and how it's going to look, you want a really flat surface. So
Right.
countertop or something like that, and lay the tiles side by side and go ahead and offset them, because that's where you're going to see it. Because when you run things in a stack bond, if all the grout joints are going the same way and there's no
Doesn't
break,
matter.
you're never going to see the warpage. But what happens, and why we have parameters on how much you can offset a tile from another tile, um, then that's when you start seeing it. And you measure the warpage from the center of the tile. So, and it's plus or minus. So if it's plus or minus a 16th, you actually could have a eighth of an inch difference between one tile and another.
All right. So you have a 12 by 20. Okay. So here's my phone. Can't see what my black shirt. I'll put it here. Here we go. Here's my phone, and it's flat, but make believe it's not flat, and it's high in the center and low on the outsides. So you're saying you take a measurement from the center to the outside?
Yeah, the measure from the center to the outside across the whole thing. So throughout the bow, and I've got a diagram on another thing.
Right.
Maybe we should do a whole show on warpage one day. If that's what you want to see, if you're watching this today on Instagram, whatever you're watching, YouTube, let us know if you want to see a whole show on warpage and how to measure warpage. I bet we could probably get a decent audience for that.
Yeah, I think so.
It is a popular question.
Sounds like a Twilight Zone episode, warpage.
It doesn't sound interesting, but you would be surprised how many people.
It's an important topic because there are products that have been unfairly categorized as being
defective,
not the right tolerances, and then there are times where stuff is crap. And I talk about home centers. I mean, typically, not every some people in the industry buy price first and then tell the factories, okay, try to get as best quality you can at that price, where quality.
And it's not, John, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not 2005. You can't get quality tile for 69 cents a foot anymore.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah. And it's, most quality importers, distributors demand a specific quality first, and then they negotiate the best price for that quality.
Yeah.
But some people in the industry, some of the home centers, well, I think all the home centers, not everything in a home center is of the lower quality, but I feel that a lot of it can be. And I'm not just talking tile. Sometimes they're just only selling price, and then they're always trying to tweak things. And sometimes I'll see something at a home center and it says, let's just use an appliance, for example. It'll say home center, whatever, fill in the blank, exclusive, made just for them. And I don't get excited about that. I get worried about that. I say, wait a minute. So you're saying they made just for you. Yeah. So that part that is typically metal in another washing machine, maybe it's plastic in your washing machine.
My buddy back home used to say, that looks like something that fell off the back of the semi truck.
Right.
They're just trying to get rid of stuff.
Yeah. So, especially with tile, I say this all the time to clients that are picking tile. Your tile guy is going to charge you the same amount of money if they're putting up something ugly or something nice. As a matter of fact, a really good tile guy will recognize if the tile's crap and realizes he's in for trouble. So I would technically charge more to install a crappy tile because the tolerances aren't really up to par. Maybe it's still within the realm of where it should be. But do you want something on, do you want a doctor performing your prostate surgery to be the first in the class or the last in the class,
Well, and that gives you people, someone that's buying the tile themselves, you have to understand the lower the quality of the tile, maybe you have to increase you want small grout joints. It may not be possible with a lower quality tile.
Right. Yeah. And we talk about lower quality tile in general. It doesn't mean your tile is going to self-destruct or the tile is going to scratch or wear off. I mean, that could be possible, but it's more likely that the tolerances are on the barely passing
The
grade.
shading is not great.
The shading is not great. Also, quality control. So some factories, I heard this, I don't know how true it is, that some people who buy lesser quality products, in order to get a price down, they'll speak to the factory and they're like, okay, we'll take 70, as things go through production line, things are rejected. And then there were borderline things. And those borderline things are kind of like blemishes. So for example, you have a $50,000 car and there's a little blemish on the door in the paint. Doesn't mean the car is not going to perform. It doesn't mean the door is not going to open or close, but aesthetically it may not be great, or you may notice it, you may not notice it. Same thing with tile. So you get a tile that's less than superb, and it could have a visual anomaly that gets passed through. And sometimes these big buyers of tile will tell a factory, I'll take 70-30, 70% like first and 30% like marginal seconds, not maybe legal seconds, but kind of marginal seconds. And, you know, a lot of times people doing things themselves aren't expecting things to come out perfect, right? You call a painter and the painter's like, okay, I want $8,000 to paint your house. And they're like, you know what? Well, let's just do it ourselves, honey. And then you do it. And it's not the paint that's making the house look crappy. It's your painting skills. So you can get away with it more because there's a lot of people just above their pay grade putting down, you know, that's,
and I will say, you know, I've bought tiles that are seconds before. And sometimes it's hard to tell, you know, and especially for somebody who doesn't know what they're looking for. You know, they may see one tile out of 5 boxes that's really crapped up, and they're like, "Well, that one's crapped up," and you just throw it away and you keep going.
Right. So, and hence the savings is not as much, because if you're throwing out every 5th tile, the tile just went up 20% in cost. So, and
every
if you
5th box.
Yeah, exactly. So, so back to the point of the quality. If something is really good quality, it's actually easier to install, because you can, and everyone wants grout joints to be tight, you know, typically, and the better the quality tile, the better the presence of warpage or not. The better that is, the easier it is to install. What's a little interesting to me is I find it weird where the clip system, I don't know what you call them, the clips that you screw on.
A leveling system.
Leveling systems. Do they really like bend a tile? And I can't see that happening.
Now, all they're doing is, you know, normally they're used for a large format tile, which means you're using a larger notch trowel, which means you've got more goop underneath your tile, and all it's doing is finding that levelness.
Right.
So it's pushing the mortar one way or another so that you've got a smooth surface.
So basically, if you don't have the leveling system and you put a porcelain down into thin set, that's 1/8 of an inch thick, and you push it down a little too much, and then it's lower than you want, it's not easy to pull it back up 1/16 of an inch, or impossible, without driving yourself crazy or messing up the tile next to it. So you're saying you adjust those leveling things and it kind of brings one up, one down.
It normalizes it. Yep.
Does it ever bend the tile? Is any tile being bent with those things?
The only ones, and I will say, a thin gauge porcelain is where they really come in handy, because you've got a porcelain tile that's, I mean, they make some of them that are 3 millimeters thick, and I mean, you can bend that around a wall without it breaking. So when you have a tile that's that thin, then yes, it can bend the tile.
Right.
That tile is flexible, and those are very handy when doing a thin gauge porcelain, and I would definitely suggest it.
I knew a tile installer that was very good and still very good, but before this leveling systems, I would see him take from the tile box a piece of cardboard, rip it, and then fold it in half and stick that under tiles to adjust. And I'm thinking, you know, wouldn't that eventually denigrate and have a void?
Yeah, I mean, well, luckily the mortar would dry around it, and it would be solid.
Right.
But what's worse is those guys that will trial out the mortar, put the tile down, and see that
Right.
they don't have enough mortar, and then just put globs of it all over. And then what they've done is they've just created a hollow spot.
Ah,
Um, that's kind of the most common leveling that I've seen.
yeah. And then you
And
think,
that goes back to what we started this conversation with, is pre-planning. When you're pre-planning, you're thinking about your substrate. You're thinking about how flat it is. A flat substrate is critical for a good installation. And so you're doing that up front.
right. Thanks for reminding me where we started. Because when you said that, I drew a blank and I just thought kindergarten. I'm like, okay, where did we start this conversation? But okay, yeah, tile. Got it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So the installation, layout, all that stuff we were talking about how it's important to, build a rapport with the players. And sometimes those players are, the contractor has a lot of influence. And so it's good to have a rapport with the people if you can. And even if it's just a friendly meeting, next time you meet, maybe there's a problem and you want to have.
Yeah, well, I like to say if it's a friendly meeting and everything's going well, that is the perfect time to sell the next project.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Designer, what you working on next?
Yeah.
This one's done. Let's go work on the next one. And I've walked away from many pre-planning and layouts with another set of drawings, that's what we're looking for, especially as salespeople and distributors. We want to walk away with the next project.
That's true when you're talking about designers. And speaking of designers,
Yeah.
there's something called NYC by Design. So every year, New York City puts together a design week, which
Uh-huh.
kind of the anchor of that is the ICFF show. And every year there's Design Week in New York City, and hundreds, thousands of people come from all over the country to visit the show. But there's a lot of curated events that happen kind of the week before
Mhm.
ICFF and after. So it's all considered part of Design Week. As a matter of fact, Interior Design Society in New York City, which I happen to be the current president of, we are part of NYC by Design. We have a curated event for the last 2 years, and it's been well attended. And they also have awards given out like at the show, and then they have judges that look at products, and sometimes there's things that are not related to the show but just related to NYC by Design Week. So breaking news that Tilebar's product won an award.
And let me see if I can add this to the stage. Is this the award we're talking
Yeah.
about?
So we were honored to be an honoree. It's called Color One. Color One is an interesting line, really cool line for a couple of reasons. It's a line that we designed, Tilebar designed, using two completely different types of tile and put them under one umbrella. And I don't even think they're made in the same factory, but we designed it and created this ensemble of, and I say ensemble in two ways. One is Color One could be a concrete base, unglazed concrete tile with colors like those beautiful blues and terracottas as you see there on the screen,
Mhm.
with shading, a lot of shading, sometimes more shading than people realize. So they have to manage your expectations. So it is a concrete product. It is a cured product. So make sure that you have the palate for that, the stomach for that. And then there's another part of the Color One, which is a lava stone that's been glazed, but in the same colorways. So you can use just a concrete configuration. You can use just the lava stone configuration. And what we've done is we've created blends already in a box. So they're made individually. So we make a couple of different blues, as you see, a couple of different, greens and cool tones in the cement and the lava stone. And what we've decided to do was to sell them individually, obviously, if you just want one item, or blend it. So in a box, the tile guy reaches in the box and he's picking up a cement blue, and then he's picking up a lava stone black, and it all goes together and just slaps it on the wall. So Craig, as an installer,
I
if
hate
you
it.
had a yeah, if you have a blend, are you consciously trying to understand what's coming out of the box, or are you just slapping it up and the result is the same?
That's let me tell you a funny story. I, me personally, I am the pull it out of the box and how it comes is how it comes. And that's I feel like that's kind of how. Now I would get an idea of the box just to make sure that the box is
Truly blended,
random,
right?
truly a blend, and because one person's random is another person's
Yeah,
pattern. And I've had architects. I've had arguments with designers about this is random. It can't be random. You drew it that way. You actually drew the colors in, which means it's a pattern.
right.
Regardless, I was doing a hospital years ago, and my installer, I love him. I still love him. His name is Ding Tai, and he's a small fellow. He probably is 5'2", and maybe weighs 85 pounds. Well, they had this band of glass tile around a desk, and it was one of those. I don't remember if you remember back in the day. It was the 1x1 glass mosaics. I think it was from Dow Tile at the time, and it was a blend of browns. I can't come up with the name
It's
of
probably
it.
like 5/8 inch glass on a white netting in the back, and a glass and
It actually
stone.
was face mounted, so I
Oh,
want to
really?
say it may have been Oceanside's
Oh,
material.
okay. Was there stone in there, or was it all glass?
It was all glass. It was
Okay.
all glass. It had the typical flat face, and it was
Yeah. So
trapezoid.
so the Oceanside Glass Tessera series is flat on top, kind of trapezoid on the bottom, so
Yeah.
the thin set can go up, and it's face mounted. And if it was brown paper, there's a good chance it was.
So
Oceanside.
here was the rub. They wanted a 3-inch band around the thing.
Right.
Well, they never asked anybody for the measurement, so the millwork guy made it 3 inches.
Oh, ouch.
Well, 3 inches is that 3 tiles is not 3 inches.
Yeah.
And it was actually a little larger than the area. And so we ended up having to pull all of the tile off of the sheets. So we took the tile, we put them in buckets of water, the paper mounted, and I told Ding, I said, Ding, just grab them out of the water and set them. Random. Well, I left and went and got a Gatorade. I can't remember. And I came back to the job, and he and his helper are sitting there on their knees, pulling all the tiles out of the bucket and arranging them by color. And I said, what are you doing? I said, it's random. Just pull them. It's random. He says, I can't do random like that. I have to do random and see the different colors. I said, why? It's random. Don't you understand random? And he was getting frustrated with me, and I was getting frustrated with him. And so I said, well, I'm going to get, and I just went and bought a pizza. And finally, he ended up putting it up. And that's how I feel about, and I'm sure we do a better job of Color One. Once again, pre-planning and making sure those things work. But random is sometimes it's not random, and that's a conversation that needs to be had.
It made me think of natural stone, but it's a little different with natural stone, because in tile, if Tilebar is doing a good job within that box, it's controlled roughly how many of lava stone light blue and how many lava stone dark blue and how many concrete. So, and I understand what you're saying, to take a look at the box just to make sure it seems right. But yeah, if you pull it out of the box, I'm of the camp of just pulling it up and slapping it up, because
let me tell you another story. Gosh,
yeah.
I can't. These nightmares are coming back to me. We had a job over at Duke campus, Duke University. Everybody knows Duke University. They were building this new state-of-the-art technology building. And evidently the year before, one of the doctors or professors on the campus discovered a brand new cancer gene. Now,
That's big.
None of that made any sense to me. I didn't care. Well, what they did is they transposed that genome or whatever into a tile pattern to put in the bathroom of this new
Okay.
building. And nobody but this crazy professor would ever know what it means, but it was a 3-color pattern across 5 different bathroom walls that needed to be in one tile out of place.
Yeah,
Messes
one
up the
tile out
entire.
of place means you're healthy, and another tile means you have cancer or something.
Exactly. And it was so, I mean, it was literally put together on the drawings, and we had to actually stack the tiles on the floor in the right order and go up, and we had literally
Wow.
had somebody with the sheet
Wow.
looking at it as we did it.
And only scientists would know if it was wrong,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
it's got
because
to
to
be right.
anybody else that walks in that bathroom, it's a random pattern, completely
It's
random.
like the people that get the tattoos with Chinese letters and they don't know what they are, and it says like
Exactly.
"I'm an
That's
idiot" or
exactly
something.
what it's like. But anyway,
Yeah.
get back to our awards. This is something else that I saw. Um, is
This
this the
is
same award or a different award?
so. This is the same organization
Okay.
giving a mention to the Paula Paroy Art Gallery. This is pretty amazing stuff. Those are big tiles. Now that's 4 tiles in that picture. So
Okay.
she's not. The tiles aren't 8 feet tall, and she's not 3 feet tall in that picture. But those are 4 different tiles, 24 by 48. So
Yeah.
that is 8 feet high, 4 feet wide overall, made up of 4 pieces. And if you see, and hence the name Art Gallery,
Mhm.
it's more like a work of art and
Yeah.
great for feature walls. It's selling really well. I've done some. I just did I think a kindergarten. Some school was using it somewhere within educational facility. I think it was like the Ferns and stuff like that.
That's
Just give
cool
it some,
because
yeah, just give it some
they could
organic.
write on it with crayon and you could get it off.
Yeah. So yeah, really nice. Really, and what you don't see here is there's a lot of detail and a lot of technological improvements in the industry are employed making this tile. Like if we were to close up on one of them, there's some of the glaze is actually raised. Some of the glaze is actually like a gold or a
Yeah,
metal.
that's what I was gonna say, and I'll see if I can pull up a close shot. A lot of
Pull up
times when this
the
was
dark.
done,
Pull up one of the dark ones,
how
like the
about this one?
black. Yeah.
When this was done previous, it when you got close to it, like within 12 inches or so, it was
Pixelated looking.
yeah, it was pixelated looking and
Not at
not.
all. Here. Pull up like the dark. There's one that has like a black, like it appears black. Maybe it's that
My
one.
internet,
Oh, okay.
it's been running all day, so the
It's getting
hamsters
tired.
are
It's
getting
getting
tired.
tired. It's Tuesday night. It's getting
Yeah,
tired.
the hamsters are worn out.
Long weekend. So this is one of the products when you get close to it, you appreciate it more. So because of the manufacturing techniques that are used, so really nice. So that was nice to get recognized. 2 completely different products. So actually,
But same show, correct?
yeah, and this we weren't displaying at the show, and I'm not familiar with this award rules, but I think it's just NYC by Design Week. It's a design festival, so maybe there's probably some sort of industry wide call for submittals. Do you want to be featured?
Now,
Um,
this is Elizabeth Sutton. It looks like we won.
so best of year honoree. I'm not sure which contest this was,
I can't
but I
read
could
that.
talk.
It's too small
I don't think
in
this
that
was
light
NYC.
bulb thing.
I don't think this was an NYC by Design thing,
Okay,
but
maybe that's a different one.
yeah. And are you saying there's like a little logo on there? What the heck does that
Yeah,
say?
there's a little logo on there. Let me get it off the screen, see if I can see it.
Yeah. But that meta series is designed by Elizabeth Sutton, and it's It's
That's
like an
really
art
it's
glass.
a really cool thing. And you know, kind of going through the things. If you don't know, if you're just joining us, this is the Tile Happy Hour. This is where we talk for an hour about nothing, but
Yeah.
mostly all about tile. And tonight we're just kind of digging in a little bit to the Tilebar, which John and I both work for. We're very thankful for their support and in this. And we just kind of had a little press release email go out. And John, there was a lot of things. Not only we won awards for, but we're also featured in some stuff.
Yeah. So this is pretty cool. So George Oliphant, actually a friend of mine, Long Island guy.
Ah, you know,
George
famous people.
George to the rescue, a great guy. And he is, I think he's like 10 years or more been doing this, finds a worthy family that
Yeah,
needs some kind of renovation, typically, or sometimes financial hardship, or oftentimes somebody, and sometimes a child that is unfortunately afflicted with something and needs the house needs some modifications, or also, so sometimes they focus on vets. And what he does is he coalesces him and his team with people in the industry to chip in with
yeah.
money
Kind of.
or product.
What was the old show that was on ABC years ago? Where they
Um,
build a home in 7 days or something like that.
yeah, I forget the name of it, and I think there's correct that one. There's probably even a few other takeoffs on this. So this is kind of on that.
That's
I
cool.
don't think he's building a home. He's doing a renovation project.
Which is probably
Uh,
good because I heard a lot of those homes had some issues
yeah,
afterwards.
building them in 7 days, or at least what it looked like 7 days time
Yeah,
lapse on TV.
yeah.
So Tile Bar products are I'd love to. I don't know who was involved with him on that. Uh, his show is award winning, and it's great, and he's really truly a good guy. Artfully designed on Max. Our products have been featured there. Um,
The bros, you got the bros. Looks like
Celebrity Bros, they've been a
they
long
like
time
us, evidently.
supporter of. Yeah, they've been since Tile Bar started. We've had some things way back with them, so that's pretty cool. House Beautiful is a well-known magazine. Our products are featured there. You could see that Art Deco hexagon tile on the floor on the
Yeah,
left side. Is pretty cool. And yeah, and
some
then
archive stuff, some older stuff.
Tiny
That's
House
pretty cool.
Nation.
That you know, all of us, are stuck to our couches and watch a lot of different things, and it's neat to see. It's neat to see your own stuff hanging out there in the wild, which is
Yeah, it really is. I worked with George on a project in the Bronx for a school that that was cool. We did a glass, and we did like an ombre look in the glass, the Komorebi line, but we took 3 or 4 colors, and he actually gradiated the tile down
that's
from dark
cool.
to light. That was pretty cool. So that's traditional television
That's
and
right. Yeah.
marketing, and then we get into the realm of social media, right? And that's a whole nother world, and it's
Whole
been
nother. Yeah.
amazing. I feel if you're a restaurant now opening, if you don't pay influencers to come and just do some sort of segment, I don't know what they're called, but uh
A reel or a post
yeah,
or a social, and if you're Tile Happy Hour addict. You heard our conversation a couple of weeks ago with Nathan with Vision Stone and Tile, and he does a great job of social media, and we've Tile Bars partnered with him on his personal bathroom, and
yeah,
we've done it again. If you are an Instagram fan, I'll pull up here. Emily made it home. She just released this. Let's see. Hopefully we can hear. Let's see if I can play the video. I can't tell if the sound is playing.
it's not playing. So
It's not.
she's
Well,
saying, hey, I'm here at my old
she's
bathroom. Look
saying,
how
"Hey, I love Talbar," but so she's telling all about her new renovation for her bathroom, and
how she got 5 samples for $5, and she's looking at calicotta in different formats: hexagon,
yeah,
herringbone, 3x6, and maybe something else. And she needs everyone's help in selecting it. And she got that big smile, and here she's breaking her. Everyone, all these TV shows, everyone glorifies the sledgehammer and wants to break out the
that's right.
sledgehammer.
That's right. So if you're on Instagram and go follow Emily Made at Home, follow her renovation. I have kind of got an inside look since I've been working with Emily and some of our influencers on some partnerships.
Right.
So, so
Well,
follow her, tag Tilebar in it. Let you know that we're in, and help her choose her tile. She needs
and
them.
if you pay for the Tile Happy Hour premium subscription, you'll get to hear the audio of that Instagram post.
Or you can just look it up
Or you
yourself.
can just go to
But
Instagram.
we would like for you to pay the premium subscription fee
Exactly.
so that we can upgrade our internet. Because
Yeah.
evidently, if you notice, I've got a different camera tonight because our internet was crapped up, and just things have not. I don't know, just didn't work well. But you know what, John, we pushed through it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, what people don't know is we did start off with a lot of technical problems. That was that was earlier in the evening, so we launched on time, so that's fine. And yeah, so check out her Instagram, like the post, follow the post, comment how much you love Tile Bar, of course, how much you love the Tile Happy Hour, and
Absolutely.
yeah,
We should have our own Instagram, John.
we should, yeah, and we should be our own influences. We should, but we have to do, but it has to be on like Italian food, but not pizza. There's plenty of pizza reviewers out there, but yeah, we should review food or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Are you tired of tile already?
well, we talk a lot about tile. I've reviewed tile also, but yeah, we're talking about the influences. It really is amazing how these influences. It's just if you're opening up a new business, I use restaurants because I feel that that's where it's mostly used. Where someone comes in and they say, "Hey, here's this new place," and they're filming, eating their food and showing the food, and
Yeah.
I've noticed a lot of new restaurants hire. I guess that's not the right word. Partner with an influencer, and they get multiple influencers on that same restaurant checking it out, and
Yeah.
it's really really amazing. It's almost like a necessity now. It used to be.
It
Do you
is
remember the
a
yellow pages?
yeah, it is a new media now. With the things that are going on with X, formerly Twitter, and all the different streaming platforms, I fear, or I don't know, I'm not really scared of it, but I think the normal media is going to go away.
Yeah, it in many ways has. I saw something that how people have uh, a blog, and it said something like, "Oh no," someone put a newsletter out and said, "Just like a blog, but on paper."
Yeah, yeah.
for,
Um,
for the kids that don't know what a newsletter is, that it's actually on a paper and mail it out to
yeah.
you. It's like just
I've seen some tongue in cheek stuff like that.
yeah, it's been pretty, but yeah, it is a new world in every industry now. AI is like,
Yeah.
what? Maybe the influences of the future will be not even real. They'll be
Well,
fake.
I heard a guy talk about AI today. He was one of the
AI is 2 letters.
yes,
Anyway, so go ahead.
AI. Hey, I. But he was talking. He was the former Google CEO, so I think he had created or something, but sold off. Regardless, he said eventually AI will be to the point where you can grab your phone and say, "Make me a 30-second TikTok about this food. Make sure it's in a restaurant, and the music is Taylor Swift. Go." And it will do it, and it'll make it all for you perfectly with the right tags and everything. and that's where we're headed.
Well, that's where we're headed as far as a novice person just doing it with prompts. But the technology exists now to do that anyway. Like it exists, I believe.
It
It's
does,
just
but
not where you could
can
just
tell.
say and puts it all together. It it exists in maybe segments.
Yeah, but soon you won't be able to tell that it's AI.
Yeah.
That's the scary part.
So all the influences, be aware, you're going to be replaced by AI in the future. Like there are going to be influences that are like, hey, I'm John Bot, and I'm reviewing this restaurant, and it's not even a real person.
I've never had food because I'm not a real person, but the pizza is amazing.
But in some crazy way, I think people would be intrigued by it, and even if you're not hiding that it's fake, you kind of say, hey, I'm not real, but
I'm not real, but the pizza's great.
Yeah, it's great. It's people seem to be enjoying it. Scary stuff, exciting stuff, but scary. But that's what all technology, right?
Absolutely.
A lot of the things, you split an atom was pretty cool for a few things and not cool for other things,
And just think in the 20s and the 1920s, not the 2020s, the 1920s, they thought
I didn't realize that we didn't live through, but when you say 20s, we always thought it was 20s.
In the 1920s, the government was considering shutting down the patent office because they figured everything had been invented.
Everything. Wow.
That's a true story. Maybe not the 20s. Maybe I have the decade wrong, but I think it was around the 20s.
That is insane. It really is. And what I find really cool is, I don't know this for a fact, but I think I've heard this, and I kind of believe that this is possible, where two people invent the same thing completely devoid of any contact with each other, and not even, now on the internet, I guess you can access, but years ago when there was no interweb, and somebody would invent something in Asia, and someone else would invent it here, and it's kind of the same thing, where they come up with an idea simultaneously, and it's just, I guess, because things are born out of necessity sometimes, right?
And we're pretty basic creatures. We need mostly the same things. And but what has only been created in one place?
Alcohol.
The Tile Happy Hour.
Exhibit A. Yeah. Yes. So this is the Tile Happy Hour. We've pretty much neglected to tell you where you are. If you're still here and haven't figured out where you are, it's because you've been happy.
That's right. Colin and Samir would call this the deep end. You've made it to the deep end.
Exactly. So this is a Tile Happy Hour, typically Tuesday nights, 8:00. Craig and I go live or put a broadcast out, one or the other, or both, or sometimes encores just for fun, best hits and best sellers. Put it out there for you guys to enjoy, for you guys to like and follow. Ask a question about the industry. Ask a question about Taylor Swift if you want, I guess. I don't know. You mentioned it. And we're here for you. We're here to serve you, serve the industry. We really want to, have your experience with the tiles or the products that the world that Craig and I live in, be it ceramic, porcelain, glass, LVT. And we're here to answer those questions. So if you have a question, ask us. You have a comment, you have a complaint, shoot it over to Craig and let him know what's up. And so, hey, Craig, this has been fun. We do this all the time. Welcome to the middle of August, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys again next week. So I'm going to say I wish everybody peace, health, and happiness.
And thanks for joining us. You made it to the end, and we appreciate it. We do read all your comments, no matter what you send, complaints, how good looking I am, whatever. We love those comments, so keep them coming, and we will see you next week. And don't forget, let's keep learning together and tile the world.